morning, guys. I haven't really been able to get home with enough daylight to actually work on the addition out here because it's dark, obviously. We got some decent amount of rain today. So what I'm doing right now, it is dark outside. I'm in where the wood burner is, where I got the firewood at. And this is where I have all my lumber stored, as you know. And rather than backing my tractor out or having to carry all this lumber out and move something out of my shop area, I've got a little bit of space right here, so I'm actually going to assemble some posts right here. So what I'm doing is I determine the crown so I can match it together so I don't get a crooked post. I let the crown come out of, I oppose the crowns of the different boards so I end up with a good straight post. And what I'll do is I'll put plenty of adhesive on here. I'll kind of zigzag down through here. And then I'll take this board and I'll lay it over on top of this one. Okay, then I'll put it up on edge, make sure they're even and everything. I'll put my clamps on it, clamp everything nice and tight. Then I go down through there and I nail it. And then I can take my clamps loose because the nails at that point act as a clamp. We got two complete posts put together. I ended on basically an empty tube of adhesive. I only have to make 8 posts, so really didn't take too long to do that. You could probably do all 8 posts in 2-3 hours. And the lumber is way cheaper than buying a post. So that's kind of what drove me to do that. And it's one more thing I can say I did. You know, I like doing stuff myself anyways. Kay's got the gas can and the oil. Just ran out of 2-stroke gas. Before I can actually put up my string line and get all that laid out, I really need to do some cutting. So we're gonna go get some gas real quick and then we're gonna finish cutting and so we can move on with the rest of the project.
You want some peas now?
Cleaning up, got some firewood stacked up over there. And we've been cutting several trees along here. Getting ready we're gonna take this tree here out and several more of these right in here. Anything that's basically potential to fall on the building, I'm going ahead and taking it out before I even get started on it. Dad brought his pole saw, so we're gonna see if we can reach this big limb right up here. I'm gonna cut this hickory tree right here and this little stub here, get it out of the way. We're just piling the limbs up down there in the woods, let the rabbits and whatever else want to hide in it have some habitat. We got Dad and Cade down there moving some firewood. We gotta take this tree out and a couple, like this little one, there. I haven't made up my mind on this cherry tree yet. I just want to clear out that way enough that I've cleared my building. And then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna cut this one. I think I'm gonna leave this one here for now because it's gonna completely miss the building and when it falls, if it falls, when I cut it, whatever. And it's also gonna be up in the tops of some of these trees here. So let's get a few more cut here. We're kind of taking our time instead of getting a big old mess. Cut a few, then I cut them up and we get them moved out of the way instead of getting them stacked on top of each other. Then you run into a big old fiasco there. Don't mind the mess here, but this is the last tree of the night for now. We've cut most of this stuff right in here, several right along in there. That's dragging the last of that hickory tree limbs. Now, this tree right here has got a lean to it. I don't know if you'll be able to tell here. Let's walk over here. So I'm holding the camera level. You can kind of see it's leaning this way. And it's actually leaning to us a little bit as well. And you can see the built barn right there. It's basically wanting to fall right in there. She's leaning right towards me right now. So what I'm gonna do, you can tell, yeah, you can see how much it's leaning. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it, try. I got my batter boards right there. I'm gonna try to stay this side of those batter boards and take it just to the left of that big tree, right in there. I don't know if it'll work. My concern is how small this tree is. But I think there's enough to have a decent wedge and have room to get my wedges. A decent hinge and have room to get my wedges in. So I'm gonna go ahead and side it out, get my face cut made, start my back cut, and I'll come back to you guys when I start whacking, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't hit my building or pop loose and hit my fuel tank. All right, guys, Dad's driving some wedges here. Hopefully we don't bottom out before we get it over. It's moved a lot. Here's another one. I'm gonna have to go get another bigger wedge. It's moved a lot. We've got a decent amount of wedge, but not a ridiculous amount, actually. Well, guys, I missed it. I was shining the light for Dad, and I didn't get my camera out in time, but it went exactly where we wanted it to go. Right between where my batter boards are and where the big tree is. Well, I don't know, I might cut some of these limbs off here, but we won't have to cut all this.
Yeah, I think it's going to get dark. I'm going to go ahead and leave them last few chunks down.
Okay. Then Bethany's ordering some food for us, so it'll be here for too long, I'm sure. But lots of fun. Too bad I missed that on the camera for you. I told Dad, I said, hold up, let me get the camera out, and then it had already started going, and I didn't take so long to close the light out and get the camera out and get it started up. Everything's just so slow. But anyways, there it is. There's how much hinge material I had. Now, if I was just following this and it was just going the direction it wanted to go, it probably would have already started falling at this point, and I would have went ahead and kept cutting, probably cut about half that out. But that's about an inch, maybe a little over an inch. It's pretty straight. A little bit less down here, which is what I was going for. I wanted probably actually just a little bit less here and just a little bit more there is what I was shooting for. But and of course, back cut is about a half an inch to an inch higher than the face cut, which is about what you want. And she fell right exactly where I wanted it to go. So, all right, that's a good way to end the night, guys. I'll catch back up with you guys tomorrow. This screw was loose, and the one up here was missing. So we got that tightened back up now, and I sharpened my chains, so we'll have a good sharp chain. Put it back on there. So you can see it was due for a change. Here's the tree that we cut down last night when it was dark, and I missed it actually falling. But you see I got it bucked up in some firewood chunks. This cherry tree here needs to come out, and it's kind of intermingled with this one here, and the way I need to fall this, it'll fall right into the top of this tree, and it's gonna do some funky stuff. So we're gonna cut this leaning one here first. We'll cut it down, we'll buck it up, that way we don't have stacking up a disaster here. And then once we got that, I'm gonna cut this one. So we'll get those two trees out of here. Then I wanna see what I can do about this big limb here. We'll see. We'll easily be able to get these two trees done today, easy. But what I'd like to do is get them done and then go ahead and get my string lines set up. And I may even, hopefully, maybe be able to dig a hole and pour some concrete. Time will tell on that, but I'll be really happy if I can get these two trees down, get my string lines set, get my batter boards reset, all my string lines up, so I'm ready to go. This is a heavy leaner. Don't want to deal with a barber chair right now. I bored through, got our little face cut. I bored through, left my hinge, established my hinge. I'm gonna cut back, pull out, and we're gonna sever this back holding wood back here, and she's gonna fall right over. I actually went below. The benefit of doing what I did is cutting below this is, as you're cutting, if it starts to go, your saw stays with the stump instead of going with the tree. If you were to cut up here or anywhere above this and it started going, it would try to take your saw with it, which in this instance wouldn't be a big deal. I know a lot of people would like to just dig right in at the butt of the log and just make some hay while it's easy going. But I find that you're better off to go to the top of the tree, cut your smaller limbs off, get them lopped off, and then work your way back towards the stump, towards the butt. That's not the only way to do it. I just find that works best for me. And then by doing that, that allows, if you have someone with you, rather than them kind of waiting for you to cut some big chunks, if you go up there and you cut the limbs, they can be dragging limbs out of the way, they can be throwing little pieces back out of the way, and you've got some limbs for them to be working on while you're getting into the firewood. That's my thought process on that. Whew. Running the largest pole saw made on a limb that's really too high, that's really big, will wear you out. HT 131, that's a massive oak and a massive limb. That one right there. I got my bottom cut, and you can see it's closed up. I've cut on the other side of the tree where all the brush and stuff is, because I know I don't want to have to try to get away there. And then I've got me a spot cleared here. As soon as it starts going, I'm running straight back here. I'm gonna move this tree out of the way, and I'm gonna start cutting on the top there. I'm gonna try to. The problem is I'm at such an angle that you cut in instead of, you need to really cut from the top down. And they do have angle bars that you can buy and put on, but that's not a stock thing. We haven't done that yet. There is the big limb. It did not come down as I'd hoped. I mean, it went down exactly how I thought it would, but if you look right up there, that piece up there at the top, I could not reach that. I just couldn't do it at the angle I was at with the size of bar I got on that pole saw. But it did finally come down, pinched the bar. I saw it start to go, so I kind of, let off, pulled on the saw to pull it out of the cut, and the power head came with me. The saw stayed up in the tree. But it snapped loose, fell right straight down. Once I saw it break loose, I was like, oh shoot, I don't have to even run anywhere, but I still took some steps back behind the tree just for protection. And then the saw was just hanging up there, so I hit the end of it, hit it with the piece I had in my hand, and it fell right out. And I'm gonna show you. This piece here actually slides over this end, and that's what actually came loose, which allowed this entire thing to slide out. So to get it lined back up, it's got keys here, little notches. Just line that up, and then it's got a spline shaft in there, and I just turned the chain back and forth as I tried to get it to go, and it eventually lined up. And so we'll slide that back in there, line this up, and I think what actually needs to happen is I probably need to tighten up these screws down here. But for the time being, I'm gonna go ahead and slide it all back together, and we'll be good. I'll get my saw, we'll cut this thing up, and we'll be about done. I got one more tree, that tree right over there I'm gonna cut. All right guys, I'm gonna cut that, try to clean that face up a little bit. I wish I could cut it off more flush with the tree, but I definitely can't do that. Well, I think that looks much, much better. Now we're gonna swap out this pole saw for a chainsaw, and we'll start cutting up some firewood here and get this. This is the last tree to cut. I mean, I want to be cutting some more, but I don't really have to worry about cutting them before I put the building up. So this will allow us to move on forward with the building. We're gonna cut the limbs off and move on.